Hi there, welcome back to Modern Method for Guitar, the playthrough and tutorial with me, Tim Maynard, your host. And today we're going to take on Imitation Duet. Another duet, luckily this has no chords, so it's going to be one of these quick, sort of little exercises for this week. First guitar, second guitar, the setup is the same. Both parts are able to be played by either the student or the teacher, so we can do what we did before, play all the way through, repeat back to the beginning, and switch parts without stopping. And with Imitation Duet, I think that you'll see why it's an imitation duet, if you just sort of compare both parts. Anyway, let's get started. So like before, I have the metronome at 60 in my ear, and I'll count it out loud and just play through first guitar through the second guitar, and so that you can play along. Take the other part if you like, and then I'll combine the two at the end so that you can hear what it sounds like with two guitars. Anyway, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. One, two, three, four. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, So there we are. It's a simple single note line duet. So you should be able to turn it over in some pretty quick time. The next thing on the next page would be the sharps and flats. Sharps and flats. If you're brand new to reading music, You know, the sharps, you know, look like the hashtag or the pound sign, and the flat looks like a little B. Essentially, you know, a way to remember it would be that the sharp raises a note by 1 fret. You know, so C goes up by a half step. That's, you know, C sharp. And you know, if it were D, then lowering it by 1 fret, pitch gets lower. So that would be a flat. A couple of rules that you need to know. When you see a key signature, I know I'm going way ahead. Sharps or flats will be at the beginning of the music between the clef, you know, the squiggly line, and the time signature. That's the 4-4-3-4. So you'll see an arrangement of sharps or flats. They never mix them to give you the key. And when you see a key signature like that, any of those sharps or flats mean that those lines or spaces that the middle of the sharp or flat happen to be on means that that particular note has been changed through the duration of the song from beginning to end as being a flatted or a sharp note. Okay? In this case, we have what are called accidentals, because according to the key signature, you know, what we see at the beginning, these sharps or flats aren't supposed to occur. We're not anticipating seeing them. So they're called accidentals. And when they're accidentals, what you have to remember is that it only lasts for 1 measure. So if, in this example, we have a G and then a G sharp. Now if you were to see another G after that G sharp, that would be G sharp. They don't put another sharp next to it. Okay? And if you go into the next measure and you see a G, that's G natural. It's back to what it was, because the bar line cancels out any accidental from the previous measure. Okay? If you want to cancel out a sharp or a flat within a measure, well, then you use a natural sign. And that kind of looks like a box, kite with like 2 things sticking out of it. I don't know, you can call it whatever you want, but the sharp is like the hashtag thing. That's pretty recognizable. The flat is a little B. Again, it doesn't look like anything else that we use. And then the natural sign is just the non-sharp, the non-flat looking thing. And then, so what I usually do, you know, these are pretty self-explanatory. So what I'll do is generally assign the exercise down at the bottom. You know, playing through all of the rest of this, you know, maybe I'll do that. Because he does give you a key signature, which is a little early in how you know, want to present this. The keys come in later, and we'll learn F and A and D and G and all of those fun things. B flat and some E flat. That's going to be a lot of fun. Anyway, so let's get started. We'll play through each one of these. You know, the lines won't take that long, and then I'll play the exercise at the end. Okay, like before, I'm going to have the click in my ear, and I'll count out loud. And I'll play 1 line at a time, give a little break, and then we'll go on to the next one. All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So in that first line, not much happening, just the sharps and the flats just being introduced. Line 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. In the second line, we have a key signature, like I mentioned before. It's between the clef and the time signature, and you have to remember that all of the B's now are going to be B flat. And you know, Mr. Leavitt's good about, you know, giving you the string just as a reminder. And you just want to, you know, watch out for this. Sometimes you're going to play mistakes, so just get used to it. You know, it's one of these things that we all, you know, struggle with, you know, in learning a different key and having to change the notes. hopefully with your reading you'll get a lot of different things to get some practice and playing at a lot of different keys, and then you find out how many scales you really need to know. Line 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. In this third line, we're given some of these accidentals that I talked about previously, where you have, let's say, a G, and then next to it you have a G sharp. And so that's just getting used to seeing some of the accidentals, sharps or flats, not in the key signature, in the middle of the music. Line 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. In the fourth line, we have a whole bunch of stuff. We have some sharps, we have some flats, and we have some naturals. Oh my. And this is a great way to get some practice in here. You'll see it coming up. You'll see some cautionary accidentals. And what they do sometimes in music, even though you're supposed to know that, okay, we're in a new measure and those previous sharps and flats should be canceled out. Sometimes if it's been a difficult passage with a bunch of different sharps or flats and you're wondering, like, what key am I in? Sometimes they'll be kind enough to give you a cautionary accidental and get you back on track. Line 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. In the fifth line, more of the same. More sharps, more flats, more naturals. Exercise. 1, 2, 3, 4. 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. 4. In the exercise, what you have is just a little bit of everything. You get some sharps, accidentals that don't appear in the key signature. You get some naturals, canceling out those sharps, and then another sharp that comes back in. So there's a little bit of something for everybody. And remembering that a sharp raises a note by a half step makes you think a little bit about, like, the notes that you learned in the scale. Okay, if you know an F, okay, where's an F sharp? Oh, that's a half step higher. And just getting used to seeing some of these other notes that are kind of in between the natural notes, the letter name notes, is something you're going to have to get used to. But you'll get some practice. You're never going to be really good at it because nobody really is. We hate sharps, flats, accidentals. But it's really what makes the music interesting. So practice up, and I'll see you next time.